Hey guys, Ben here, and welcome back to the DCTV show, episode 30. We are live, and we're going to be talking about all the latest stuff in regards to The Flash coming back this week, Supergirl being on the penultimate episode before Supergirl goes away. I need to mute this. And, you know, the latest news, like there's been some set photos. I'm just looking at my notes right here. The classic Superman suit is back in Superman Lois. He's fighting a classic villain, maybe the return of Earth X. We need to get into that. And also we got new Supergirl titles, which are quite spoilery, which is super exciting. But also, like, they dropped a new Flash trailer, which is cool. And we're going to break that down and talk about that. But like the latest Flash episode, like we need to freak out about what happened with the Speed Force. But as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in, whether you're tuning in now or if you're tuning in afterwards. Remember, Superchat questions is the best way to get your questions or topics that you want me to talk about answered. I'll pop them up on the screen like this. It will pop up and we will talk about it straight away because you're supporting the channel and it really means so much to me. And yeah, without further ado, go ahead, send in your questions either via the chat or super chat. Also, just quickly before we start this, you can become a member by clicking the join button. You'll get a cool different color name on all the live streams, on all the comments, which is awesome. But also you can join me in a monthly Zoom members call, which we're probably going to be doing sometime this week. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into our first topic. And let's just see who is here in the chat. So we got Cal, we got Strive for Greatness, Sarah's here, Vera's here, that rhymes, Flash Versus here, Dark Shadow, Super Dude, you're not that late, don't worry. And lots of other people. Lewis is also here in the stream. And where is Gary, guys? Where is Gary? Gary is not here. Maybe Gary is going to be late, but we shall see. We got a bunch of other people joining in as well. Christopher, Lene is here. Claps, Jay, Elise, lots of people. So welcome to all of you. You know, we do this every week. So if you guys are regulars, always be sure to hop into the chat and say hi, make yourself known, because you know, we love to interact here. And anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this. So what did you guys think of The Flash this week? I want to know your thoughts and opinions about it, and we can talk about it all together, because this week, like the ending, the last like 10 minutes was kind of crazy, right? Like it set up the final story, the main villain for this half of the season, this graphic novel, as Eric Wallace calls it. And yeah, it's kind of what we expected, but like the way that it went down was not very expected. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead into this. But I literally completely agree with Flash Verse right here. The start of the episode was like, I would say it's better than that. I would say it's, you know, like pretty good. But then the ending, you're right, it was insane. And I see Lene in the chat saying, where's the join button? I can show you where the join button is. I know that not everyone knows how to do that. So I can pop it up on the screen before we actually get into this. But in the meantime, guys, whilst I'm showing Lene and all of you guys that don't know how to do this, let me know your Flash thoughts. A bunch of you guys, as you can see on the screen right here, are doing that. And I'm going to read them out and go through my thoughts. So the join button is right here. So underneath the video, you click join. You can pause this. You don't need to listen to this. That's just me. And you can choose your tier. And, you know, as little or as large you want to go, it's supporting the channel. And we do, yeah, there's like cool perks. You get like these things in the live chat where you can sort of put like, what would you call them, guys? For all of you members out there, it's like emojis or like emblems, which is really cool. And you can do that. Like there's some custom made ones. Your name changes color, but also most important, I would say, is we do the monthly member live calls on Zoom. So yeah, if you want to join, click the join button. Let's go ahead and see what some of you guys were saying. The Flash is great. the Speed Force is the villain. Damn right, they are the villain. It's not a she, because you remember the Speed Force is like an entity. Obviously, they take up, Nora Allen, so they take the form of like a woman. So I guess you could say she, but like overall, like as a villain, they are this entire force that is like greater than one human. So yeah, that's crazy. Flashverse said, "Did you notice how freaking fast the Speed Force was? Barry was literally frozen still after he threw the lightning." Exactly. They're so fast, like ridiculously fast. And I mean, let's talk about the ending right now. So what did you guys think? Did you freak out over that ending scene where you had Speed Force literally killing the other force? Like, geez, that was crazy. And I mean, we were expecting them to like, betray Barry at some point, like Speed Force Nora, but I mean, this was like brutal, like out of nowhere. I watched it back and it literally cut from like a normal moment, checking if Fuerza was right, to them literally like shooting their lightning, like all of their power right at Fuerza. And yeah, it's clear that like Fuerza didn't attack Nora in the first place, as the T151 says in the chat. And it's probably more likely that the Speed Force attacked all the other forces, and that's what you saw in that past episode when the Speed Force came for the first time. So, yeah. Do you think Fuerza is dead? I'm pretty sure, because the Flash, the trailer for next week did say that, she's dead. So, I would presume Fuerza is dead. But yeah, so my thoughts on this. Sorry, I was just reading the chat. It was crazy, and I mean, yeah, like I was not expecting it, and I think I audibly went like out loud. I was like, Jesus Christ, like what the Nora, what are you doing? And yeah, she was sus from the beginning, and I was like, God damn, I'm freaking out right now. I don't know. I'm kind of like, how can I describe how I was feeling? It was just kind of crazy. But yeah, so that was like the crazy moments in the episode, and you guys are agreeing, like you were freaking out and everything. Like, how are they gonna stop it? She's literally the sorcerer's powers. Yeah, that's right. Like, it's gonna take a lot, and that's why you have original worlds returning. So this is where the new trailer comes in. So, welcome Janelli to the live stream, member of the channel. Welcome back as always, much appreciated. No problem. Yeah, so I'm gonna share my screen again, because this is where the new trailer comes in. Because they just released this new trailer. I don't know if you guys have seen it. But there is this new one, A Good Day's Work. That's just like a random title. So it's got like a bunch of old footage, but it's also got some new footage in. Like you can see Fuerza right here from last episode, like some old footage. But then there is new footage, and this is where this comes into. Like, this is original worlds, aka timeless worlds. He's just like chilling in this specific time period that looks very different. It's very blue and very not normal for the Flash. And so they're going to be going after timeless worlds in this next episode, I believe. And they're going to be trying to get his help in order to stop the Speed Force, because I think really he's probably the only person that could beat or best the Speed Force. Welcome Arrowverse scenes. But yeah, so in this new trailer, it shows Barry speeding in, and you have timeless worlds reacting to it. So this is like one whole bit here, like that. And I'll probably have a trailer breakdown on this out sometime like tomorrow maybe, or the next day. But yeah, Timeless Worlds is back. He is here. He's inside Star Labs, and he's with Cisco and Chester. And so, yeah, that's all going to be happening, and they're going to have to try and take down the Speed Force, because the Speed Force at the end of the episode was like you got to pick a side, Barry. Like, whose side are you on? Because if you're not on my side, I'm going to be going after you. Like, I don't think she even cares about Barry, really. I think she's just using Barry's powers. But yeah, actually, that's true. That's true, KBM. Timeless Wells said when he left, like, he was going to go back in time and be with his wife. And so it seems like with Barry showing up to his apartment, that means that Barry's going to time travel next episode. So yeah, that's pretty much confirmed. That is awesome. And then, so yeah, this new trailer, obviously, we just got the new news. This is something else we have to talk about. Cisco and Wells are leaving the show. They're, of course, being Carlos Valdez and Tom Cavanaugh. They are officially leaving, which is obviously very sad. However, I would say it's kind of expected. Like, it's been a rumor for a while. Like, the last few seasons, there's always been people speculating, like, when are these guys going to leave? Because, you know, mainly Cisco, mainly Carlos, has shown, like, maybe he doesn't want to be there 24/7. Like, maybe he wants to do some theater stuff. And yeah, so I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I'm a little bit sad. I would love them to stay around, but that doesn't mean they're not going to come back. That just means that they aren't going to be like, regulars right now. But that's kind of what happened on The Flash this week. Also, you have the trial of Frost. That was like a whole big thing in this episode. And by the end of the episode, you had Frost actually going away and serving prison time. Like, the whole kind of big thing, I guess, is, Frost is not really being targeted. It's mainly she is being set up as like the first person to go down in a line of metahumans afterwards for what's her name? Kramer. Kramer is after all matters, and yeah, that is kind of like the gist of the other half of the episode. And by the end, Frost is able to get away with it, and she gets life in prison, which is obviously a huge deal. But she is happy that she's like kind of saved all these matters, which is obviously a good thing. And Canadagraphs says, "What? Cisco and Wells are leaving? I am shocked. I'm shocked." Canadagraphs in the chat says, "Trying to get motivated to go out for my 200 millionth Supergirl set this last month or so. Your show is downtown too much now." Yeah, I mean, Supergirl like wasn't outside in the public at all, but like recently they've been crazy filming outside like 24/7. And Canadagraphs has like some new blogs out to do with the new Supergirl set photos. I do plan on getting to them. First things first, I've got to get to my Flash trailer breakdown for next week and also my Supergirl trailer breakdown. So we're going to do those, and then we're going to go to Canadagraphs' blog, and we're going to make a video on the new leaks or like the new set photos and the details that we have behind the scenes. Okay, so sorry, I kind of lost track there. I was just checking up on something. So let's see what some people are saying in the chat. I love Frost. I'm gonna miss her so much. I mean, I like Frost, but I prefer Caitlin, so I'm not that bothered. I'm just happy that Caitlin's gonna be sticking around. No problem. Welcome, RBS. Dark Shadow says Ben, and I say what? RBS. Oh, sorry, what Dark Shadow? What do you think about the 150th episode? So, we have Canadagraphs who has joined us.
Right.
Welcome.
I
Welcome,
am
sir.
procrastinating because I've been out to so many sets the last couple of days that even though Supergirl is down the street from me, I'm kind of just like I since that day that they were at that park with everybody, I think this is like their 9th or 10th day downtown Vancouver.
Oh, really?
And I'm just, unless someone new shows up on set, I don't know what else I can photograph, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yesterday they were doing a big rumble scene, so that's kind of cool, but
What
not
do you
enough
mean
to spend
rumble?
8 hours at set for it.
Yeah. What do you mean rumble?
Just an all-out brawl. They had like 25
Oh.
stunt doubles with baseball bats swinging at each other.
Okay.
Guardian and Sentinel were there, but no other cast that I saw. But yeah, it was just an all-out brawl. People just swinging bats at each other and all sorts of stuff.
Oh crap! And do you think it's because like at the start they weren't really going downtown and filming stuff outside that they're doing so much now? Like, are they
I think a lot of
compensating?
that has to do with because Melissa wasn't around, and with her being the primary hero, the lack of a need of downtown superhero scenes wasn't there, right? Like we just had 2 episodes where they had them as kids, you know, and they found ways of just not having a reason for them to be out fighting villains, right? Now that she's back, yeah, you know, Supergirl goes out and fights things, you know, so
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to all of that. Like, they just released the new Supergirl titles. So episode 8 is titled "Welcome Back, Kara." So I mean, obviously she's gonna be back, and I believe at the end of next episode she's actually gonna return. I'm pretty sure they're gonna do a cliffhanger because this is like the mid-season finale, kind of. So yeah, it's exciting she's coming back, and I'm glad they've filmed so much outside, even though like it's tiring for you. Like, it's good content that we're getting.
Just spread out more. Like, I mean, I have no problem with them like filming downtown that much. Just pace it out a little because they're doing like these massive chunks. Like, it is rare film industry to do 2 or 3 day shoots in a row in the same location. It is actually pretty rare. It's usually one day they're gone. This is their 3rd time that they have done a multiple day shoot somewhere, and it's just too much at once, you know. Space it out.
Yeah. No, I understand that. Like, I mean, I've been filming a lot recently, and that's obviously like low scale productions, and doing it for like 4 days straight, like, and I mean, we're not even doing anything on the level of this, so I can't imagine like how crazy it is, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, I'm super excited for all of it, and yeah, there's some great set photos that have been coming out recently. I think out of any show, we've been getting the most Supergirl photos. Do you agree?
Way too much Supergirl stuff.
Yeah. Like, wait, when was the last time there's been like a proper big Flash set? Has it been a while?
So episode 15, the Godspeed stuff.
Yeah.
And I am impatiently waiting for them to show up somewhere. I check daily just now for the Flash because, I mean, yesterday and the day before I hit Superman and Lois. Supergirl, we just went over how many times they're around. Batwoman's always around, and I'm honestly passing on Batwoman sets so often because they aren't pulling in a lot of traffic, and they're just time-wise, they're never like lining up for me. I like the show. I have to put my time elsewhere. I keep looking for the Flash though, and they just are ghosts.
I'm just waiting for them to have Bart Allen.
You think episode 150 and their season finale would be a lot of location shoots?
Yeah,
like these are big episodes for them, and so far nothing.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for like a first look at like Nora back, like Jessica Parker Kennedy, or like Bart Allen in his costume on the street or something. Like, I've been checking daily as well.
I think that if you see them put out a promo photo of Bart at some point,
that means there's going to be a set, right?
Yeah. Even if I don't know about it, just assume they're on location somewhere that day.
Yeah.
If I see one, if all of a sudden I saw one pop up on Twitter, I'm like, oh, they're out somewhere today or tomorrow morning, and I'd be on the search.
Yeah. And just quickly, like when you find a set, or like how do you find it? Like I know they have those signs on the street. Is that how you find it, or do people tell you?
It's a little mixture of a few things. A no parking sign, if you know how to read them after a while, like there's a difference between a no parking sign for filming and a no parking sign for construction. A construction sign, it's going to be the same hours every day for multiple days, whereas a film sign might go over 2 days, but it'll be like 7 a.m. on Thursday through to 10 p.m. on Friday. It doesn't go like 7 to 3 p.m., 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. So it's a lot different than a normal no parking sign for like construction. And then those arrows, the arrows are the big dead giveaway. If one of those pops up, you're on the right track. But Twitter has become a big tool in the last few years. I'd say probably 40-50% of what I find out is on Twitter now,
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. We got a super chat here. Thanks, Jason, for the $5 super chat. Jason says, I feel like episode 2 to 7 of Supergirl were like a holdover / mini series of sorts to bridge the gap between season 5 and the real season 6 / final 13 episodes of the show. Do you agree? I know you've been watching Supergirl, like you watched last night's episode.
Yeah, last night's was the first one that I'd watched more than 10 minutes of since the first episode. The first episode I watched, episode 3, I watched until my internet went froze up. So I watched about 10, 15 minutes of that. And then last night, I probably saw this week's, I probably saw maybe 30, 35 minutes of the episode. I was listening to it most of the time, but doing other things, but I would tune back in for a few minutes here or there. Yeah. Actually, quite liked the episode, to be honest. And I don't know if that is because these characters were more likable than the originals or what, but it was a fun episode overall.
Yeah. No, it was really good. And I kind of agree that it's like a holdover, like to kind of prep for the next half when Melissa returns. Like, obviously the show, like the people behind the show, they knew that Melissa was on maternity leave and like she was going to have that time off. And so they prepared for this and they created a whole story around it. So yeah, they're definitely like bridging the gap. But I feel like, next week's episode and, the episodes before the 2-part episode were that kind of holdover. But I feel like the 2-part was kind of like this separate thing, even though it was like linked with the kryptonite and with the DNA that they were searching for in the past. Like those 2 episodes felt entirely different. And I mean, I was going to talk about this. Like, I really liked this week's Supergirl because these 2-part episodes have just felt different. And you guys know that I'm a huge Supergirl fan, but like, I think the lack of Melissa, the lack of Supergirl has definitely impacted like the Earth storylines, because the Earth storyline hasn't been that interesting. I know you haven't watched all of it, Canadagraphs, but I think overall you could probably see from the outside that the lack of Supergirl probably impacts a lot.
I mean, that's just a reality with every show. I mean, the rare example of that, the one that kind of worked against that philosophy, was when Oliver went to prison for 7 episodes. Those are some of the best episodes that show had 5 years. But you are right. Usually, if you take the lead out of the main storyline, kind of clunky. And I mean, they knew they were going to have to do it. I mean, even before the pandemic started, they knew Melissa was going to be pregnant and needed that off time, right? Like, they tried to set their schedule last year in a way that they could minimize the time she was off coming up, because they were going to do this thing where the season ended in March and they were going to have her come right back for 4 weeks or something like that of filming, which was going to be the next 4 weeks of the next season, so they could get in some content before she went on maternity leave.
Yeah.
Knowing she wouldn't be back until at that time, they thought it was November, but January. But they had a plan then, and then obviously everything was thrown up in the air, so they came up with a new, different plan. And you know, you work with what you have. I mean, that's the best way to look at it. I think that's why you got this 2-part episode of them as kids, so they could have Kara's character be connected to the rest of the group in some way, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Melissa Kara, but it's Kara as a character, right? Because
Yeah.
right now she's off on her own, doing her thing, and everybody else is off on their own, doing their thing, and fans don't really engage much when the lead isn't part of the main story, you know?
Yeah. And I really feel like, I mean, there's been talk about like a Midvale spin-off, and I really believe that these young versions of the characters are really good, and they really embody the, you know, the older versions. And like I've said this since that first Midvale episode, I love these episodes. Like they are really good. And when I first found out about the 2-part like flashback episode, you know, time travel episode now, I was super happy, and I'm really happy that they went with this, because we knew that we wouldn't have Supergirl interacting with our main team, right? And this is like the best next thing that they could do to incorporate, you know, Supergirl into like the team's interactions. And yes, it's not Melissa, but it's a version of Supergirl, which is, you know, I think that's always best. So
if you can find a way to keep your character connected to the rest of the thing, even if, like you said, it's a flashback version, probably for the best, you know?
yeah.
I mean, it's not Melissa, but you still have the Kara character there being around. By the way, I just want to say, I saw last week's Eric's after party where you raved about the younger actresses. Now that I've watched one episode of them, I didn't see the first part of it. Now that I've seen one episode of it, I sort of disagree with a couple of things. I think the one that did Melissa's character, A+ job. She did as great as anyone could have done with that job. Alex's was decent. I wouldn't give her an A+, but I would definitely give her a high grade B, something like that. But the one that did Cat Grant, never, ever, 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 ever bring me that character again. Ever. I love Cat Grant's character. It's my favorite character on Supergirl, and that was an abomination of that. And I'm not saying the actress did a bad job. She probably was told to play it that way.
Yeah.
Don't do that again.
Well, I'm going to say with Kat and with this version of her, like, I feel like I appreciated that we had Kat back in some way, you know, as a fan. But then I kind of agree, like, I didn't hate her. Like, I thought she was good, but I didn't think she was like a A+, like you said. But I think she's a kind of caricature. Like, she is like embodying her. She's like over the top playing Kat. Like, Kat is pretty eccentric, but like, you know, this young Kat is over the top. Don't you think?
I think it's just it might just come down to a delivery, the way Callista would deliver it, as opposed to this young actress. She probably can't deliver in the same way Callista would, that snarky, you know, smart ass context, right? Like, I think that might just be the problem, and they might have been best to maybe just tone down how she was, because they're acting like Cat Grant now is the same Cat Grant. What was that, 20 years ago? 15 years ago? I know me as a person, not the same person I was 15 years ago. So why didn't you just like tone her down a little and make her more manageable to the actress you had, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever, you know.
It was crazy. Like, she was like half the time
in the show, probably not seeing her again anyway.
Yeah. Like, half the time she was like walking around and like in this one pose, you know, like the classic Cat Grant pose with her hand like kind of sticking out like that or something. And I'm like, okay, maybe you're pushing it. Like, she does that sometimes, but she doesn't do that 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just like one thing.
I will say on the episode, the one other thing is, I've always been a bit of a fan of Brainy and Nia, but that episode, they were adorable, and I'm more on board now. If they give them a spin-off, I'd be like, I'm fine with that. Up until this, I was kind of like, you know, they're fun characters, but I don't know if a spin-off would work. If they can find a way of making them that way, like on a regular basis, I think that'd be a fun show.
You know what? I was literally thinking something like that because, okay, I've always liked Nia. I like Nia a lot more than Brainy normally, right?
Okay.
You know, I've really come to like Nia over the last few years, but I've never loved her as much as, like, say, Alex or someone, right? One of the people that have been around forever, you know, because Nia was introduced a couple of seasons ago. She's awesome. However, I never liked her like just as much. And Brainy, I always thought he's cool, but like he was like, I prefer Nia over him normally. And but then you're right, like this episode, it had me thinking, like, if they can be like this and there are interactions like what we got in these two episodes, I'm totally down for this. Like, I want a spin-off with them, and like they worked really well with the young cast as well. So yeah, I agree with you. I thought they were really good. Okay, Daniel has sent in a $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much, Daniel, for the support. Daniel says, why do you think Nora and Bart came back in time for the 150th episode? It's because of Godspeed, he thinks. The real Godspeed. Oh, so he thinks it's because of the real Godspeed. And then he says 23 episodes for season 8. So it's kind of like two separate things. Oh, no, three separate things. So Nora and Bart, why do you think they're coming back for the 150th episode? Do you have any theories?
I think he's right. I think he's right about the Godspeed thing, because they said in the announcement when they announced Bart Allen was coming, they even said it'll be because the Flash is facing his biggest villain yet, or however they worded it, right? Clearly not Reverse Flash. So who is it? It has to be Godspeed. If it's not Godspeed, it's someone nobody has on their radar yet, and they've just like made up something. As for the 23 episodes, no. I think more realistically 20. Maybe you might get really lucky and they stretch it to 22. 23 episode seasons, especially under like with they all just had to sign new deals for whoever is coming back for next season. I guarantee you there's a lot of negotiating in there for like, I'd like 2 weeks off here. I'd like only 4-day work weeks here, etc., etc. So they probably are going to be like, man, to make this work, we're going to need to do this and this. And I think 22 episodes is the most you ever get from that show again. I realistically think it's more likely 20. But you can hope.
Yeah, we can hope. But I agree on the 23 is maybe pushing it a bit much. Like, I'm not so sure. Like back when they were consistently doing like 23, of course, like we will be thinking that. But recently, I mean, this season is like, what, 18? And I know that's because of the pandemic. And I know last year was supposed to be like, what was last year supposed to be like? 2022?
What did the season end on? 19, right?
19. And they had 3 episodes left.
Yeah, it was 22 then.
22. So they were supposed to have 22. So, I mean, I think the realistic number is like 20 to 22. Like, I don't think they're going to stay under 20. I think they're going to go for like what Supergirl is doing this season with 20. But in regards to Nora and Bart coming back, I definitely think it's because of Godspeed. And like you said, that's what they teased when they announced Bart. So, yeah, I think the real Godspeed, or like whoever he is going to be like the main villain in the back half. In the
for a second, I have something coming in at 2:30. Just give me a minute.
Sure, no problem. So just continuing on from that, I really do think pardon me, the new Godspeed is going to he's going to show up, and then he's going to be the reason why Nora and Bart are showing up for the 150th episode. So thank you very much for your super chat, Daniel. And Daniel also sends in another super chat. Thank you very much, Daniel, for your support on this level. It's awesome and you're amazing. So is it the Red Death? He asked. So could the reason why they came back, and like, could the real Godspeed be Red Death? I think Okay, if we didn't see the set photos and we haven't been told about Godspeed, I would say yes, the Red Death is a possibility. However, we've seen the photos with Godspeed on set, so I'm going to say it's not super likely. If you want to chime in on this, Canadagraphs, Daniel sends
just
in
catch up.
another super chat.
Is it Red Death? I don't think so. Too late in the season to introduce him now. Like, we're dealing with Godspeed. As of episode 15, we know Godspeed is still on the radar, so I don't think they would introduce Red Death with like 2 episodes left.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting Red Death this season. I mean, if ever, but this season specifically, I think this is going to be a Godspeed focused season. And then maybe at the very end of the season, there could be a suggestion on who the first half villain is for next year. But I don't think they're using Red Death as a first half villain because he's supposed to be, more of a main villain, which is usually your second half villain. Like, they set you up now. The show's done this now a couple of seasons in a row where they give you a starter villain, and then you get your big villain in the end, right?
Yeah.
So they're not going to start with Red Death for season 8. If Red Death is in season 8, he would be the back half villain,
Yeah. I personally kind of miss like having like a whole long season villain. I don't know if you agree with me, but like
I do disagree.
You do disagree.
It was
but like
watching
imagine
22 episodes
Reverse Flash and Zoom and stuff.
Oh, there was some they did great. There was a couple they did great, but could you imagine 22 episodes of Cicada? Like,
Yeah, I know. And 22 episodes of The Thinker. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, The Thinker. The Thinker was the first one I came of, but I couldn't remember if he was a half season or a full season villain anyway. Like,
he was full season.
Yeah, so like there are some that just it doesn't work,
But then for me,
seasons of Nora. Like, do we want to go through 22 seasons of this storyline that we're in right now? It's a good storyline, but I don't think it's 22 seasons worthy or episodes.
Yeah. No, I get that, but like I don't know. I feel like with these villains that are half season, we get less time to invest in it. And like for me, yes, Speed Force Nora is cool, but I haven't had the time to be like, oh, she is like really cool or something like I did when Reverse Flash, Zoom, or I really like Savitar. And I think lots of people like the mystery. Like some people didn't like the conclusion, like when he got revealed. But yes, we had The Thinker and Cicada, which were bad, like season-long villains, but you had like 3 pretty good ones. So I know we're not going to probably go back to that because Eric Wallace is a big fan of this graphic novel style, splitting the season into 2. But I don't know, I kind of miss it because I feel less invested in the main villains because it's not really a main villain, really, is there? Until Godspeed, I guess. But yeah. That's just kind of my thoughts.
Here's the thing, like in real life, I mean, when I say real life, I mean, it's not real because I don't think there's ever been such a thing, but if you could envision superhero world in real life, there's not going to be the same nemesis for you for a year long. Just probably not. You're going to have someone that you're annoyed by for a few months. Finally, you resolve them, and then someone else that's been in the back, just doing their thing, all of a sudden, like, steps up and takes over, and like, now I've got this guy I got to deal with. Like, the idea that you'd be fighting the same villain for a year is a little hard to, accept as realistic enough. Not saying it can't happen, but what do we have here? Just hold on 1 second. Continue with what you're doing. I got something to read. Oh, I knew this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I think for me, like, I guess the way that the Arrowverse was initially set up was with Arrow, like they did the same thing. It would be like whole season long villains, and I guess I'm kind of used to that. Like even Supergirl did that, and obviously Legends isn't so into that always. because I mean they're kind of all over the place. But yeah, I guess it's just different for the Flash recently, and I've accepted it. And I think there are some like really cool new villains. Like I think Speed Force Nora, maybe like one of the coolest ones so far. However, they're gonna get resolved like in the next 3 episodes. Like we know that there is like an end date pretty soon, and it's not going to like amount to something enormous. But then that being said, like Godspeed, I feel like is going to be a big thing. But like the question is, when is Godspeed going to show up for the first time? Because the first time we've seen set photos of him this year has been in episode 15, and it ends in episode 18. So is it going to be the same thing? He's going to be revealed like 3 episodes before the finale, or similar to Speed Force Nora being revealed as like the villain 3 episodes before her kind of mid-season finale. So that's my kind of question.
I think timeline-wise, episode 12, which is the first episode of the back half, is when we'll get the first look at him. We won't get any interaction. We'll just know that he's around. 13, okay. 14 might get like one more interaction with him in there somewhere, but there'll be like a filler villain of the week for us to focus on. Then I think 15, as we've obviously seen, he's in, or versions of him are in. And I think from 15 to 18 is where it's full on focus on him. 14, 13, you might get something of him. And then 12, I think we'll be given the they'll show us on screen that he exists so that we know this is what the back half is going to focus on, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll play it that way. Start by letting you know what's coming. 13, 14, there might be a small lull, and then 15 on is where they really focus on it. It's a short season for them this year, so they can't waste a lot of filler episodes on this either, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 14 apparently is Danielle Panabaker's episode, and apparently she revealed in an interview that it's Allegra-centric, so
there's your
that's more of a character episode. I wouldn't say it's filler because I don't know the story yet, because like if you look at the Chester episode, that was like super.
When I'm saying filler, I'm talking it's not going to focus a lot on the villain, the primary villain.
Yeah.
Like it might still focus on story threads connected to the characters, maybe why Cisco is doing this, why Barry is doing this, etc. But I don't know if we'll get a Godspeed scene in it then, It'll be Allegra carrying the load of time. Everybody else has their part, but it'll probably be a villain that Allegra is familiar with,
Yeah. No, yeah. And I just saw that tweet. I guess we can talk about it because it was just tweeted out.
I mean, it's public. It's a public tweet, so.
Yeah. So the tweet that we were just talking about is apparently there's been rumblings in Vancouver that Stargirl may relocate to Vancouver and take over Supergirl's empty space for next season. And the person on Twitter comments that it makes sense for crossover season probably returning next year, which is very likely. So thoughts on this?
Yeah, literally like a couple of days ago, I said, no, I don't see that happening. And then last night, the person that tweeted it, her husband and I talk all the time. And he actually gave me the heads up that it's not etched in stone, but they've heard it from a couple of people. And then something else, I can't say where they got the piece of information from. They got the piece of information from a very reputable source that it sounds like they're done in Atlanta. I don't know all of those details. I know where they got the information, but I can't verify that myself. So it does make sense if they are planning to have her crossover at any point, have the production geographically closer. And it makes sense because Supergirl's gone. That studio will be empty in August. So it's new. It's fairly new news to me. Like I said a couple of days ago, I was telling people, no, I don't see that happening. And here we are 48 hours later, and now it looks like that's now on the table as an option. So we'll see. Obviously,
Yeah.
I don't think anything of that will be decided for at least another 30 to 60 days. You know, we'll
Yeah,
find
that
out
makes
more in the
sense. Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, whilst I got you here, so talking of crossover stuff, like obviously we got the Diggle stuff that is going to be linking the shows together. So I guess that's kind of like our crossover for the year. But next year, say most people are vaccinated, lockdown rules are kind of lifted by the point that they want to do that. Fingers crossed, right? Do you think they're going to have like a full-on crossover, or will it be like a kind of mini 2-episode crossover, or do you think they're going to go full out like 4-episode crossover all the shows?
I have talked about this on my own live stream a couple of times. I am skeptical of the idea of a full crossover because there's a couple of things still in the way of that. The writers obviously have to know ahead of time that they need to write this.
Yeah.
And if we aren't at that, because they're coming back in July this year, like the 3 shows that end in May, Flash, Legends, and Batwoman.
Superman.
I don't know about Legends, but Flash and no, I'm talking filming. Flash and Batwoman are coming back in July to start filming.
Yeah.
That is the intention right now. If they come back in July to start filming and we're still under the same guidelines we're under right now, which is no crossover is allowed, you as a writer start writing that episode. You just can't. You have to have enough time to write that and know that that's going to be part of the thing so that you can weave it into your season. If you don't have the permission to do that, doesn't matter if those guidelines are lifted in October, doesn't help, you know? By that point, you've missed your crossover period. I think a smaller crossover, maybe in the back half of the season, is a more realistic probability. That said, I mean, things are happening on a daily basis. New decisions are happening. I could wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden the government's like, okay, starting with next season, you can do this. I doubt it, but we could just one day wake up and our government's like, everything's open. I mean, we're not there yet. We're nowhere near it. We're some of the last people in line for first world countries, but hopeful. I think right now the idea of a full big crossover is 0%. Unless drastic changes happen in the next 60 days, 0%. Smaller crossovers, 50%. I think there's a chance, and I think it's more realistic that it happens in the back half of a season when they have more of a hope that things have changed by that point, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it. And yeah, I'm just hoping for a big crossover, but I know the rules. And yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% up to date in like Vancouver and the rules. Like, so filming, they're not allowed to cross over. I don't know about like public wise, like you still have to quarantine when you come in. And I guess you can kind of explain like what's going on a little bit over there. Anything looking hopeful or not?
I haven't heard anything. The only update I heard, and this is like a month and a half ago, is that any rules that are in place at that time were now etched in stone for the rest of this current season. Now that you got to remember that current season for Superman and Lois goes until July, and for Supergirl goes until August. So they're locked into those current rules until the end of their film season, which for Supergirl is the end of the show. Doesn't matter if tomorrow everybody in the province all of a sudden can get the vaccine. Does not matter anymore. Those rules have been agreed upon. So that part, you know, they're etched in stone. For the shows coming in for next season, I don't know what the negotiation process is going to be with the province to loosen some of those restrictions. But like I said, we would have to hear something in the next like 60 days for them to consider a crossover for next season in the first half of it. As far as the quarantine process, as far as I know, I have heard that this is an intended thing until currently October. Like
Mhm.
even if vaccination rates, are really high, they intend to keep this in place until October. The process right now is you come in through the airport. You
Yeah.
spend 3 days in a province assigned hotel with all other people, like random people, all in your own quarantine. After 3 days, if you pass the first or second test, then you are allowed to go do the rest of your quarantine at your own personal place, which for actors would be a hotel. And then there you have to do your last 11 days in a hotel, and then you can go out and do your regular thing. And nothing I've heard anytime soon is changing on that. Like I said, October is what I've heard it's been extended to.
Mhm.
Again, things change frequently. I mean, we have a government right now that's doing things almost on a whim sometimes. They put in a lockdown on indoor dining, and they
Mhm.
literally gave the restaurants 24 hours notice.
Wow.
They set it on like a Thursday, and they're like, as of Friday, you can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they don't, businesses have like shifts, they have things, they have food sitting in their fridge. You had to give them more than that. So our government
That's
is
what they do
very
here
bad.
as well. They've done that.
Huh?
They've done that. Our government's done that, and it's like screwed over so many people.
Yeah. Well, ours has too, and yeah, like I don't know how much attention you pay to the things I tweet, but we had this thing about 2 weeks ago. They put a new traveling restriction. You're not allowed to travel. So the way they originally worded it, I'm sorry for everybody in the chat that doesn't care about Vancouver bylaws. I'll try to make this quick. So they had made a travel restriction rule that you're not allowed to go outside of your health zone. Okay, like our area is like broken up into like different zones that like cover different regions health area. So the weird thing about that was I here in Vancouver could go to beyond Whistler, which is like a ski resort. That is a 2-hour drive away. Like
Okay.
I could go 150 kilometers north, not leave my zone. But I couldn't go to Burnaby, which is the next city next to me, because the border for it goes right down Boundary Road in Vancouver, which is right where the film studio is. Like,
Yeah.
there's 2 film studios, main ones. There's Vancouver Film Studio and Bridge Studios, and they're right across the street from each other on this boundary. So, legitimately, you wouldn't if you lived in Burnaby and you wanted to go to the restaurant across the street from you, because it's not a a necessity, you wouldn't be allowed to do it
Jeez.
by the
That's crazy.
restrictions they put in. So there was a lot of pushback, and they've now made like a super region. So our region and the region beside it have been merged into one just for this convenience, but they still have these restrictions. Such a stupid system. They should have just made it a basis on how many kilometers away you were instead of this like regional thing, because there's still going to be a border somewhere else that someone's like, hey, I'm here. The closest hospital or closest gas station, as hospital's a necessity, closest gas stations 3 blocks on the other side of the border. Like, it's such a stupid system, but that's our government. They just make things up as they go along. So yeah, these filming restrictions just might change overnight one day.
Yeah.
That was the point I was eventually getting to.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, Silhouetted Animator has sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. And he says, so did Jay Garrick survive the JSA onslaught of 2009 to 2010 on Earth 2, or did he fake his death? So I think the onslaught he's talking about here is the scene in Stargirl episode 1, right?
Yeah.
You've seen it?
That was the assumption I had too, was a Stargirl one.
Yeah, so I believe that Jay, I don't think he was around at that time. Like, maybe he like went away already because he wasn't in that big fight. I mean, most of the JSA like current members of the time were there, and most of them got killed. So I would say My theory is he probably wasn't there at the time. He probably wasn't like a team member, but he used to be, and that's where we're gonna see him. And like, yes, he did survive. I'm not sure if he faked his death. What do you think about this? Oh, we did see his helmet. That's true.
Yeah,
He
I can
might have left
honestly
it
say
behind.
I've never thought a second about it, so I don't have a good answer on it.
Mhm. Yeah.
But anything is possible with these shows. I mean, it's superhero shows. You know, they can write how they need it to work when they need it to work, and then if it doesn't work
Mhm.
2 years later, they'll just retcon what they originally made. You know, so
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. And that fight, let me say, was awesome. Like, that was such a great way to open Stargirl. I think that was like the best scene in the whole show so far. I'm really looking forward to Stargirl season 2. Did you like Stargirl? I feel like you did, right?
I mostly did. My only weakness on Stargirl was its finale. Didn't work for me. I don't remember it anymore, but I just remember being incredibly underwhelmed by the finale, and I was disappointed because the rest of the season was good. But yeah, most of it, yeah, I quite liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just thought it was really solid, and I think it was like a good setup for Superman Lois. I know it's like got CW themes in it, but so does Superman Lois. I mean, they both cover teenagers, but like it was a bit different from the regular Arrowverse shows. Obviously, it was at DC Universe. Maybe that's partially why it had a bigger budget and stuff. But yeah, it was like different, and I really enjoyed it. Came out in the summer when all the shows wore off, and it was nice to have a new show during like the lockdown and everything. So yeah, I really really liked um the Stargirl season 1. I really liked it. Well, anyway, thank you very much to the Wits Animator for the support and for the super chat. Yeah, so we're heading up to the hour mark. So start sending in your final super chats and your final kind of topics, ideas, or questions in the chat, and we'll go over it. So whilst I have you here, I want to talk about the new Superman Lois set photos. Were you actually on the set for that? Because I
Yeah,
haven't checked your blog if you've put up one to do with that yet.
I have a blog post from the first day, the one where he's wearing the retro suit.
Yeah,
I haven't done my blog post from yesterday's shoot yet because just wiped out, you know,
yeah,
just finally needed to sleep at a normal time. I probably won't get that out until honestly the weekend because I know I have today and I know I have tomorrow. I have sets to go to.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think I'll probably put that one to the weekend because it's literally just Tyler and Bitsy in civilian clothes. So it's not as exciting as those retro
Yeah,
shots were, right?
yeah,
But yeah,
because
there is a
like
blog post up for the retro one.
cool. Well, I'll leave it in the description below for all of you guys who are watching in the live, and I'm going to do it afterwards, so you can go check it out. And yeah, let's quickly talk about the classic suit because I love that classic suit. Such a great surprise in episode 1, and I know that they have a classic villain coming in. I forgot his name. However, he normally has the I'm not gonna say the word, but he has like a sign on his chest in the comics.
Yes, I
To do
didn't say
with
it in my blog
the
post
war.
either.
Yeah, to do with the war.
I
To
have
do
my
with
blog post up
World
in
War
front of me.
Two.
The exact phrase I used was one thing is for certain, he was sporting some symbols on his chest that Arrowverse fans might take a second look at. It looks like a symbol of the Earth X villains, and then I had in brackets, I'm like, I won't use that specific word here in Crisis on Earth X crossover event.
Yeah, yeah. So I
So
mean,
yeah,
I was gonna bring that up because I zoomed in, I looked at the photo, and I was like, okay, he's got the symbol of the Earth X, villains where the from World War II took over the world, and instead of in the comics they have the actual sign from World War II, but like in the Arrowverse they did the two lightning bolt
they
things.
yeah they didn't want to get pushback from PR, so they made a new symbol for it.
Yeah, so I mean, do you think it's to do with FX, or do you think it's literally like someone that's time travel from World War II?
Well, the character is you haven't read I just sent you the link, by the way.
Yeah.
The character the character is a character from the old comics, like the black and white era TV show. The characters from back then. So it's clear they're from modern day here because they have modern day waste disposal truck in the scene, a modern day police car. I know a little bit more now than I knew the day before. I knew it was a flashback because obviously the suit he was wearing. I know a little bit more from the second day shoot. I saw one of the license plates on one of the cars. It has an insurance tag from 2004 on it.
So these
things are supposed to be from like literally like right before him and Lois met, I guess, because the kids are like what, 15, 16. So I would have to assume time travel. Like that's my assumption based on the fact this is around 2004. This scene is happening. It'd be weird if this is supposed to be like 1987 and like there was semi-modern stuff in it.
Yeah.
I have to assume it's got some type of time travel element to it, but I don't know for certain. I have some details from it that I'm not making public just because I might out who I got the info from, but there's things I do know about the scene, but I don't know of I don't specifically know of a time travel element to the scene, but it makes sense just based on what the character's dressed like and where the era of that character came from.
Yeah. I'm wondering. Oh, look, we got a super chat from Silhouetted Animator, $5 super chat. Thank you very much once again. Earth X Barry / Flash from the animated Earth X film.
Animated film.
I've seen it, and I don't think Earth X Barry is going to show up again, but like I would love it because, I mean, all the FX versions of characters were really cool. And this actually got me really excited because, like, yes, there's a possibility it could just be time travel, but if it is FX again, I know it's just a flashback. However, it's cool to see them incorporated somehow because I really do think Crisis on FX is the best Arrowverse crossover, in my opinion. I loved it. And so it makes me excited.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. From a quality standpoint, none of the others come close.
Yeah.
Entertainment standpoint, I probably take Crisis on Infinite Earths and even Elseworlds over that. That is more.
I really like Elseworlds.
That's because they hit you with those like fan service moments. Earth X is a quality piece. The other ones are entertainment.
I wouldn't. I don't know. Like I like Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it's actually my favorite comic book, like that I've read. I love it. I've got it on my shelf and everything. It's super good. However, I don't know. Like it was a little bit underwhelming. Maybe I was just expecting something more.
I agree with you. It's underwhelming only because we have such high expectations for it.
Yeah.
In the comic, 500 plus characters are mentioned or shown.
Yeah.
We got. I did an actual count before. It was in the 50s. We got 50 characters in the TV version. They didn't even get to 20%.
Yeah. So I guess it's like not really a very good comparison because they don't have however many pages Crisis is in the comics, Like they don't have
6, maybe even 8 episodes to do a very accurate version.
They should have done like a whole separate mini series of Crisis. Imagine if they did that. They just dropped everything.
As hell. And as we know, like Arrowverse shows aren't the money makers they were 6 seasons ago.
Yeah.
6 seasons ago, if they'd had all these shows in place, maybe they could have. But nowadays, I don't think the budget would justify the profit margin.
Yeah. No, I get that. Okay, Tina sends in a $2.99 super chat. Thank you very much, Tina, for the support. Tina says, what are you both looking forward to next week? So what do we have? So I'm behind on Batwoman, so I don't know about Batwoman. You regularly watch Batwoman. I see your tweets, so you can talk about that in a minute. I presume Black Lightning's on. Superman Lois isn't on. It's coming on the week after. So next week it's Supergirl's mid-season finale, episode 7.
Starting Sunday would be Batwoman and Legends. Monday is Black Lightning. Tuesday is Flash and Supergirl.
Flash and Supergirl. Yeah, so Supergirl is going to be like a big episode because the final one for like over 10 weeks. And then Superman Lois is coming back. The Flash, you're going to be seeing the aftermath of what happened in this week's episode. So that's going to be cool. So what I'm most looking forward to, I haven't been watching Batwoman. I haven't been watching Black Lightning. I need to watch episode 1 of Legends. I'm planning on watching that. So I can't really comment on those. But between Supergirl and the Flash for me, I would say I'm more excited. Like I love the aftermath of last week's episode of The Flash, and I can't wait. Like The Flash is my favorite show, like at the moment, even though Supergirl has been really, really solid these last 2 episodes. I'm gonna say Supergirl because Melissa's gonna be back at the end of the episode. Fingers crossed.
I think Melissa will be back most of the episode, but like back with the team, at the end of the episode probably. I think because she basically got the last 2 episodes off. So I think episode 7 she'll probably carry a bit of screen time, and we'll get that final moment where whether they show us the result or not, we will be aware that she's about to come back. I don't know how they do it. I don't know what the process is of them bringing her back, but you'll either get that cliffhanger where they're like, here we go, we're about to do it, or she will just at the very last scene end up back on Earth Prime. One or the other.
One or the other. Yeah, but I'm expecting her to be in like
next episode of Flash is the timeless episode, so that means Wells could be his final episode. We don't know. Does that change your mind?
Maybe. I hope not. I really hope it's not his final one. Like, I want at least one more, surely.
I sincerely think it might actually be, because he's posted a couple things on Instagram that clearly show he wasn't in Vancouver. And if he had come back to Vancouver, he would have had to quarantine for 14 days to do 1 episode. Yeah. I sincerely do believe this might actually have been his last episode that he shot. Prepare yourself. I mean, we already know Carlos is around till the finale. They made that abundantly clear in the in that Deadline article. But as far as Kavanaugh, we didn't get that same promise. And like I said, I've seen a couple of posts of his clearly showing that he wasn't in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Just brace yourself. This could be his last episode.
So maybe the Flash show for, I don't know. Like, I'm looking forward to both of them. Thank you very much, Tina. Okay, so Silhouette Animator has another super chat, $10 super chat. Thank you so much for all the super chats today, Silhouette Animator. Very, very much appreciated. So he says, the false hero meta in Christian Kramer's backstory, plus the fact that she was said to have frequented Gotham City, made me think the meta was Bane, but Gotham ain't connected to the Arrowverse, so I don't know, lol. So what do you think about Christian Kramer's backstory?
I mean, Batwoman's crossed over with them before. Unless he means Gotham the TV show. If that's the case, then no, it's not. I don't think it's Bane. I don't know who it is. I did rack my brain for a little bit trying to come up, and there's so many options I came up with, but I didn't settle on one. It could be something. Batwoman related, maybe, but I think they'll stick to a Flash-based person. And I do actually think we will get Kristen Kramer back at some point because of this storyline.
You do?
I don't know why. But it's weird for them to bring that up and not pay off who it was they're talking about unless they planned on doing it later. And
it's interesting.
Carmen Moore's a local actress, so it's not like they'd have to fly her in for a quarantine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When I saw this in the episode, I was like, huh, interesting. But since then, honestly, I haven't thought of it. So thanks for reminding me, because like maybe they'll actually pay this off. And Silhouetted Animator sends in another super chat. Thank you very much. And he continues it. He says, assuming the metal was military associated. So yeah, I guess like, this person betrayed her. That's why she feels this way against Metas. I don't have any thoughts. I guess Bane is like a good guess, but I'm gonna say it's unlikely they're gonna show like a Batman villain on the show.
Especially,
Yeah,
especially on the Flash first. Like if they introduced Bane on that one, maybe you could, but they're not going to introduce a Batman villain on the Flash first.
yeah, I think it's unlikely. I think it's gonna be like a Flash villain if it's anything, even if she is like talking about being in Gotham or something. But thank you very much for the super chat, Silhouetted Animator. And
My
but
one theory that I bounced on at the time was I could see maybe a way that it was Reverse Flash, because we know Reverse Flash can take the form of other faces, and maybe he passed himself off as a different hero. But that was the thinnest idea I had. I never came up with a good idea.
Yeah, I haven't come up with a good idea. I don't know, like any of these ideas are better than mine because I have zero. I haven't literally thought about this, but looking forward to all of this. Also, some new Supergirl titles. I mentioned episode 8 was Welcome Back, Kara. Episode 9 is Dreamweaver. I'm presuming that episode is going to be, probably heavily to do with Dreamer, which is cool because, like we said, Dreamer has been awesome these last 2 episodes. So looking forward to that. Episode 10 is titled Still I Rise. That's a pretty typical Supergirl title. Like, we know that there's probably going to be like a big fight in this episode, you would presume. Episode 11, Mixie in the Middle. Was that the episode where we had that
I'll
park
still be here, but I'm just turning off the camera for a second.
Okay. I'm presuming that episode was the park scene episode that we got with Nixley and Mixie, because obviously Mixie is going to be back in this episode. So that's kind of my presumption right now. But the CW Shows Lover sends in a super chat sticker, $1.99. Thank you very much, CW Shows Lover, for the heart sticker. Very, very nice. I much appreciate your support. So yeah, obviously I'm going to have videos out on the Supergirl trailer for next week's episode, Flash trailer. Also, I want to go over the Earth X stuff to do with the new the flashbacks with the set photos on Superman Lois. Also, the new Supergirl titles. So we got a lot of stuff to go through and break down, and like obviously next week's episode is it's all going to be really big because you're gonna have Supergirl coming back, joining the team. You're gonna have Timeless Worlds, maybe his last episode. So there is a lot of stuff that's going to be going on. And Canadagraphs, I was just saying, episode 11, Mixie in the Middle. Do you think... Wait, was that the episode with the park scene with Mixie?
I'm just looking back through my photos now to check. I heard you say it because I still have the audio on. I was just checking. Yeah, that is it. That's the one that was in the park.
Okay, so this is going to be big on Mixie. And Nixley is going to be in that episode. And are you aware if Nixley is going to be playing a big part until that episode? I would presume she's playing a part.
You watch the show more than I do.
No. Like, yeah, in terms of story, but I mean, like,
outside of 611, you got to remember the first time I saw any Supergirl filming this year was that time they were at the brewery, and I just got a couple of photos of them on set. Outside of that, I've barely seen them. I saw them one scene with Supergirl and Martian Manhunter. Outside of that, destroyed shipping rig.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was the park scenes and onward. It's been every other week since then. But anything up till 611, I have almost no information on.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, recently they've been filming so much, but like we said, that is definitely down to Melissa being back. them having Supergirl out on the street. But yeah, that's about it. Unless you have anything else you wanted to like quickly bring up.
Not really. I mean, outside of obviously I have a lot of Supergirl and Superman and Lois set blogs on my site right now that are popping out almost daily. I probably won't have a new one today, but this weekend I got more content to put up too. And as soon as I'm done here, I'm heading out to go to another Supergirl set. So might even be more.
So follow Canadagraphs on Twitter. I'm also going to link his blog below. We talked about the Superman Lois blog. I'll link that. I also link the Supergirl one. We talked about that. So he's also going out right now. He's going to get some photos, I presume, like if they're out there in the open. Do you know like the location? Like
I do. I was just about to say they're filming at a place that Arrowverse fans in general know. They're filming at DC Place, which is the stand-in on the Flash for Star Labs Exteriors.
Okay.
But it's not Star Labs. They're calling it Burnett Arena, which is the director of this episode is Simon Burnett.
That's funny.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Little inside joke for the crew, eh?
Yeah, well, we'll be on the lookout for that. One final super chat from Silhouetted Animator. Thank you very much once again for the $5 super chat and your many contributions throughout the stream. Much appreciated, as always. Last one. But will we ever see Cyborg Superman or Maxwell Lord again? Or who the unseen Leviathan leader Elder is? No, I think they've totally are going to ignore the Leviathan leader. Like, that was a thing they set up, and like they're not going to go through with that like this season. No way. And then Cyborg Superman, Maxwell Lord, the actor, I forgot his name. Peter. Yeah, he didn't come up to Vancouver in the first place, even before the pandemic. He's definitely not going to come up in the pandemic. So we won't be seeing Maxwell Lord, and Cyborg Superman wasn't the best received villain, so I don't think you're going to see him again. So it's a no for me, sadly, but good question. The Flash, we got one last super chat, sends in a £5 super chat. Thank you very much. Do you think the Speed Force is going to all them out? What do you think that means? Do you think the Speed Force is going to all them out?
Like try to eliminate them all?
Yeah, like fight them all, I guess. Yeah,
I think so. I don't know. I don't know what I mean, I know a little bit of where it leads to, obviously, because I've got those 6-11 or 7-11 set photos. So I know a little bit of where it leads to, but how we get there, I don't know. But it does definitely seem like her intention right now is to try and eliminate them all.
Yeah.
Like, she's been pushing very hard for them to be on the attack of them instead of just trying to talk to them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, anytime we see her show up, she has no interest in hearing their side of the story. She just wants to get rid of them. So I do think we are going to get, the next episode and the episode after, I think, are going to be more episodes of her trying to eliminate the other forces. We'll see.
Yeah. I pretty much agree with that. Like, that is definitely the way they are heading with all of this. But thank you very much for all the support and donations towards the channel, the stream. Thank you to all of you who have watched and stuck around. We're going to head off now. Well, go check out Canadagraphs' Twitter, blog, YouTube. Everything's going to be down below. And definitely follow the Twitter, because maybe we'll get some updates about what's happening on the set today or tomorrow, something like that. So, well, thanks for joining, and I'll catch you guys later. And Canadagraphs will catch you guys later. And yeah, thanks for watching. See ya. Bye-bye.